Hey there, Taylor Elwood here, and I have a couple quick announcements to make before I get into the meat of my video. The first announcement is that I'm going back to just doing videos on YouTube. I've been doing videos for a while on Facebook, and I'll be honest, I really didn't like the quality of the video with the Facebook Live, and also wasn't getting necessarily a ton of interaction at the time, so I kind of feel like it would be better to go into doing these videos using YouTube and just recording there, and then afterwards reaching out, and the quality of the video will be better. The other thing is that you're going to notice this with this video, and from now on in other videos I'm going to start putting in a link where you can donate. I do a lot of content creation, articles, videos, etc., and I'm not necessarily getting paid for them, and that's okay, but I could definitely use your help. You know, if you find what I share to be of value, please consider donating, and you'll see a link from now on at the bottom or in the description field for the videos. Okay, so today I thought I would talk about hard times and how to navigate hard times, and how to use your magical practice to help you navigate hard times. And why I'm sharing that with you because, well, frankly, I'm going through a hard time. I've been going through a hard time really the last half a year, I would say, in particular. I had to make some hard changes. I had to make some tough decisions. And I'm still going through this process of this hard time. It's been rough. I don't mind telling you that. The question is, how do you go through hard times? What do you do to handle them? And I find that really you kind of have to take the bull by the horns. You gotta grab it and, you know, wrestle with it and do the best you can. But seriously, in my particular case, it comes down to first doing what I would consider to be a fearless self-inventory. You know, like, what led to these hard times? What's my role in these hard times? You know, what do I need to take responsibility for? You won't necessarily be in control of everything that's happened to you, or the cause of everything that's happened, but you definitely, I feel that when you encounter hard times in your life, you definitely play a role in it, and you definitely have to be willing to take responsibility. You know, in my particular case, I would say that some of the things that I've had to take responsibility for are like how I let my pride blind me. You know, I let hubris get in the way, in some sense, with some of the things that I was doing, and just really didn't pay attention in the way that I should have. I didn't keep myself open and asking questions. And I can admit that and acknowledge it, and I think that that's like the key thing, is that you have to be willing to admit it and acknowledge it. Maybe not to everybody out there in the world like I'm doing right now, but certainly to yourself. You know, so that's one thing to keep in mind. But I think the other thing that you have to keep in mind is that you have to find what will actually help you carry you through those hard times. I mean, there are going to be times where you're going to feel depressed, or unhappy, or afraid. I felt all of those things in the last 6 months. There are some days where I really struggle with some of the things that I'm feeling and working through. And, you know, it comes right down to the fact that you just kind of have to say, okay, well, how am I going to get through that? In my particular case, I found that really taking on specific routines has helped immensely. You know, I've continued my exercising. I've continued my meditation. I think that that has played a huge role in helping me get through this hard time and helping me learn from it as well, because I'm doing what I can to actively take care of myself. The other thing, though, is that you got to be willing to explore unconventional solutions and step away from the comfortable discomfort, and go into the uncomfortable, go into the places where you are uncomfortable. In my case, it meant killing both of my businesses for all intents and purposes, recognizing that things weren't working the way that they had been, and that I needed to really make some changes. And I had to take a good hard look at myself and say, well, what is or isn't working here? And for me, a lot of it was really just coming right down to, I need to figure out what's essential, what really brings me to life, what really brings me joy, and get back to doing that. And that's been a slow process of discovery. I found that getting back to doing some reading that I haven't done in a long time has been fun. I also find that writing and getting creative again has helped immensely toward just producing a much better quality of life in some ways. And at the same time, you might say, well, if that's the case, then how do you know you're really going through a hard time? And the answer to that is I'm going through a hard time because of all those changes and because I'm having to figure out who I am. When you go through a hard time, one of the things that you encounter is that you come face to face with your own fragility, your own mortality in a way. Like in my case, I've come face to face with the fact that that the identities that I chose to assume were not healthy for me. Well, I've stepped away from those identities, but I still have to come to grips with that because that identity death is hard. I've really had to come face to face with, well, how do I feel about where I'm at now and the work that I'm doing? How do I feel that I'm not doing X, Y, and Z anymore? So I share that with you because I think sometimes people don't always recognize that kind of work and how hard it can be to really face themselves and discover who they are and what they can do. And the other thing that's really kind of stood out to me about this whole experience in terms of just facing myself has also been really the fact that I've had to take a good hard look at some of my spiritual practices and decide, which of these work, which of these don't work. You challenge yourself on every level of your being, and I think that's the benefit of going through a hard time. That might seem odd that I would put it that way, but a hard time, there are benefits to going through hard times. They're not fun at the time, and when you get through them, you probably look back and you're like, man, glad I'm done with that. On the other hand, those hard times can really force you to come face to face with the things that you don't want to see about yourself, the things you don't want to experience, and make some hard decisions that need to be made. For myself, it's kind of like, well, here I am, and here's the things I'm realizing, and here's what I need to change in my life in order to move forward, and here's what I need to stick to because it does work. When I've made those choices, it's really helped me to go through this hard time that I'm dealing with and come to a better place as a result. And I would say the same for you, is that, if you're going through a hard time, be gentle with yourself, stick to the things that work, but also be willing to face the things that don't work. And yes, that may mean some radical changes in your life. It may mean that, that you stop doing something that used to work but no longer does work because you have to do something else. It may mean that you have to really face yourself and your weaknesses and recognize those and start doing something about them. It may mean other things too. The key is to be gentle with yourself with those realizations. Don't beat yourself up if you can help it. If you do, find someone to talk to. I think for me, that one of the things that's really helped me come through this is that at times I've opened up to different people and really let them in, and I've really discovered in this process who the people are that truly care about me and have got my back. Not just when things are great and wonderful, but when things are hard and difficult. And, that's an important realization right there. So that's kind of where I'm at and what I'm dealing with right now, and I just thought I would share that with you, and in the hopes that it may help you in your own spiritual journey, that if you're going through some rough times, just, stick it out with your spiritual practice, but be willing to take a look at the things that aren't working. Alright, so have a great day. Thank you for watching, and check out the donation link below in the description, and that's it. Catch you later.